BTC, the crypto crash. Let's talk about Jack Dorsey and the what do they call it? The Bitcoin Defense Fund. Okay, so this is the story of Bitcoin that nobody's talking about. I got some updated technicals here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's talk about some stuff that nobody's talking about with regards to BTC, core devs, the entire court case situation, the fork war that's starting. So, Jack Dorsey, team BTC, he's pooling a bunch of money to defend core devs from the lawsuits that are about to fly in their face, coming from Craig Wright, who claims to have invented Bitcoin, and I believe him, and Team BTC, who has made a fraudulent, illegal copy of the Bitcoin blockchain and taken false ownership, and they're calling it BTC. They're calling BTC Bitcoin, even though it doesn't relate to the white paper. They've screwed up the block sizes. They've screwed up the end timers. They've screwed up the script, like everything that you need for Bitcoin to be scalable and legally compliant, and write contracts that make sense with time durations and logical. You need script to do any kind of logic in your contracts. But anyway, what's happening now is Craig Wright's big court case with his dead early partner is concluded, and he won that court case. But now he's going to start coming after the BTC, everyone that's doing illegal stuff with BTC. And it sounds like the legal action is going to probably start in the EU. There's new laws coming out in the EU, I think, in 2 or 3 months. But you can expect a flood of fraud allegations here. We're probably going to see a bunch of patents coming out. And so BTC has to defend their position on why they copy the blockchain, why they changed the protocol for Bitcoin away from what it was in the white paper, and who actually owns what, because there are ownership rights here. And then there's a couple other things going on right now. Here, let me look at the technicals. We'll get back into what's going on legally in a second. But I've, as you can see here, have gotten more bearish than I was. I think we're doing a descending wedge here, and I'm expecting some sort of crossover stuff here. And if we break this level, even if we break out of here, I don't know, I think we're going to be underneath the support down here doing some ugly stuff. And it could rally out of here, but it doesn't need to. We could backtest and get in, who knows. This thing looks much worse than I thought it was going to look. This trajectory is the black swan trajectory, what it's doing right now. It's pretty bad. But yeah, anyway, I think we're in a descending wedge thing right now on BTC, which could get way ugly. Alright, so back to the legal situation, which is, well, Craig Wright has come out and said that he, created Bitcoin, and he did a proof that everyone is saying is false. So he's going to have to defend his proof of ownership. He also was hacked and had private keys taken, and Bitcoin was designed for you to be able to go to court, prove that you own something, and then you can take a court order to the miners, and the miners can give you your property back. Bitcoin is a legal ownership system that's compliant with law. And so Craig Wright has to prove that he owns Bitcoin, and then see if he can actually prove ownership and get his coins back. So if he can do those two things, that completely changes the entire narrative of what Bitcoin is. It's a legally compliant system of property rights. You can take a court order to the miners. The miners can move coins around. It's not encrypted. It's a public ledger system. Most of that stuff is crap. But all of that legal stuff is going to be happening. It might take a few years. But we're going to get in a fork war between BTC, which is the non-scalable, fraudulent chain. It's not a fork. It's a copy, an illegal copy of the blockchain. And BSV, which is the version that matches the white paper. yeah, so it's like Craig Wright and in-chain and patents and all kinds of legal stuff is coming out. But he's going to get attacked. Craig Wright is going to sue people or start fraud allegations, and he's going to have to defend fraud allegations as well. So this is going to get really interesting. Bitcoin is doing this, and that's at the same time. I'm going to take a look at the market, and then let's look at some other assets. But there's like a little hint of green on the S&P pre-market, and that didn't happen. So now the S&P is pulling into an area where I will expect it to pick up. I would say at least, like, if it continues bearish, I would expect to at least pick up a bear flag around this mid-channel area, probably today or tomorrow. But things are selling off. Yeah, the big tech stuff has broken out of the channel. It's pretty ugly stuff. I covered a bunch of this, but I wanted to look at gold and silver real quick on this one. I should do a whole episode probably on silver, but see, gold is bulling out during a crash. So usually gold will sell off on margin calls on this size of a crash, which is weird. Gold's not selling off, and silver is actually jumping and bulling during this rip to the downside on everything else. Silver usually will sell off harder than gold, but what's selling off is Bitcoin. The margin call, Bitcoin is being sold off to cover margin calls. If you want to call BTC Bitcoin, but just cryptos in general. I don't call BTC Bitcoin anymore. So let's look at like the miners, the BITO. I've been whoa, this thing gapped down. I've been short this. This is the way that I'm shorting BTC, is put contracts on BITO, which I think could actually sell harder than BTC itself just because of the way that it's structured. And then also, I've been short Mara for over a month. Let's see what that's doing. Yeah, so Mara's been on a pretty steep decline for, I mean, I shorted it back here somewhere, 50 some. It's like less than half. I'm probably ahead on that. Oh, what's MicroStrategy doing? Where did that? Oh, this is probably a better short than Mara. They're about the same. Not quite the same pattern, but yeah, MicroStrategy and Mara have very similar charts. But I was shorting Mara just because I saw a perfect like short entry on that one. And so, yeah, what we have is the whole narrative that BTC is an inflation hedge is getting blown. Nobody is talking about the entire legal situation on Bitcoin right now, but people are rotating out of crypto and out of stocks, and they're rotating into metals and materials outside of the stock market right now, which is interesting. We'll see how far this sells off, but if gold and silver and everything hold up during the sell-off, like this is just a huge rotation out of risk assets, crypto and the high-risk stocks, but also the big tech stocks, and into physical metals and materials and stuff like that. Let's take a look at copper as well. Yeah, I'll do a whole thing on like silver and copper and gold, because I think this is going to get really interesting with these ones. So I mean, copper bulled out pretty hard, and it's just holding, like nothing particularly interesting. And then FCX is like the copper mining stock, Freeport-McMoRan. And so this is holding better than the market. I'm going to be watching FCX to see what that looks like and try to figure out where this rotation is going to bottom out on this thing. But anyway, that's the update on BTC, and I'm revising my technicals here. I mean, I've been saying this is a long-term top, and we're coming down for almost 2 months now. I've been short. You can go back and look at my Satoshi Craig Wright playlist and see the entire Black Swan legal situation. But right now, this is actually a pretty interesting update to the technical picture, where it looks like we're just starting it. It's too early to call this, but it looks like we're doing a descending wedge. And these it's usually, I mean, it's a bullish formation once you break out of it. but it doesn't result in like a huge rip to the upside like every time. Sometimes you spit out and you just kind of fall farther down. So yeah, sometimes you'll break out of a descending wedge and like rip, and sometimes you'll break out and just kind of down. So I don't know. I don't have like this area and this area look like good targets, which is somewhere between 12 to like 16 over the next 6 months, like just vaguely. But I think we're gonna cross over and pick this up somewhere, and that's gonna be a good spot, probably to exit some shorts. I don't know that we'll fall like directly down there, but we might, bounce and cross, and who knows. I bet we'll cross this thing. Yeah, anyway, that's kind of the update on BTC. I should do, I don't know, other stuff. Anyway, that's the update. That's the update on BTC. It's a huge legal fraud situation. Nobody understands how Bitcoin actually works. It's a legal property rights system. You can go to court. You can prove you own stuff. You can take a court order to the miners. You can get your coins back. And it's supposed to be scalable, and it's supposed to work without a third party. Like BTC is not scalable because of the block sizes. And then you go creating like the Lightning Network, which doesn't require BTC to exist at all. The Lightning Network is entirely just a third-party system. The entire point of Bitcoin is to not need a third-party system. So, yeah, and anyway, BSV, this was a question I had a couple weeks ago, like, if BTC is crashing, like, will BSV do well? And no, they're going to crash together, and BSV is not expensive, and it's not designed to be expensive. It's designed to be used for micro cash payments. It's not a buy and hold asset. It's a cash system, a property rights system. That's what Bitcoin actually is. So we will see. We will see what is going to happen with that. But it looks a little more bearish than I was thinking. Yeah, Nicola, this is my other short I've been talking about for about a month, which wasn't a very good play when I entered it back here, but I think I'm ahead now on that one. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, happy. This is not investment advice, but go look up what Bitcoin actually is, theory of Bitcoin videos, read the white paper, understand how it works, and good luck and be safe with the whole crypto story that everyone's been told. Figure out what's actually going on, and happy trading.